we thought we were making a great reveal last week, and as it turns out, our comment section was like, well, duh. And as it turns out, we are just back from ScotiaCon 2026, our first furry event as attendees.
Yes.
And we had a great time.
We had the best time. Such a good time.
Such a good time.
Yeah.
The finest time.
The finest time.
And we wanted to dedicate this episode as a little reflection of our experience, what it was like, what we thought were our expectations, what was the actual reality, and if we will be going back next year.
Yes.
Also, at the end of the episode, we have some announcements to make, so stay tuned and find out. Let's go,
Go, go, go, go, go, go.
So, ScotiaCon.
Yes, we're back.
We're back. We're back. I can't believe it came and went. There was so much wait because I'm pretty sure we booked this around March last year.
This was booked well in advance.
It was very words.
Listen to the words coming out of your mouth.
Yes, it was very words. It was very, very anticipated. It was
Very anticipated, yes. And we booked ages ago. We knew we wanted to go. I knew I wanted to go from years back. My friend Sophie from Fox Sleep told me to go ages ago.
Yeah.
I really wanted to. However, going alone to an event that you don't necessarily know much about feels a little bit daunting.
Yeah.
But this year, we went with Printing Like Rabbits, with Husky. We were joined there by a lot of our friends there, like Splat Cosplay and Syndicry. And we just had a good, vibey weekend.
Yes, it was very much a new experience, like we mentioned in the previous episode. Do watch if you haven't already. That it's one of the first times we have been going as attendees rather than trading. So it was a lot of as much a learning experience as it was just a time of fun and frivolity. So yeah, I'm really glad we went. I am really glad we went.
Me too. I would like to do today's episode into two parts, more or less.
Okay.
First, I would like to talk about the event itself. What was it like? What did we expect? What did actually happened? And then after that, after we have given the proper, respectful review of the event, we will talk about our own experience, our personal experience as attendees, as first time attending a large furry event. Disclaimer, I did say in the previous episode that it was my very first furry event ever. That said, I did remember since that I attended an event called London Furs. That was in 2022, I believe. And honestly, I was there before the event started. I went and found my table. I was at this little bar table for the entire duration of the day. I didn't get to really see much until it was over and I left. So honestly, it was such a whirlwind of work that I didn't really get to experience the event. So in my head, it kind of slipped out. I do apologize to London Furs because we are hoping to be able to attend one of their events this year. Spoiler, I guess, to figure out if we liked this or not. But this was the first time that we were attending.
Yes.
So we will talk about that experience and how that felt after. First, let's start with what the event was like. What are your thoughts? How would you explain it?
Oh, that's a big question, but I think I would say it was one of the most well-organized events I've been to in terms of, I think we mentioned in the last episode just how much stuff there was to do. There was a lot of things going on, and I feel like there generally was a plan for everything, even from the get-go. So starting right at the beginning of the event, pre-registration, or the day before it officially kicked off, where you could collect your passes and stuff. You know, we arrived in the hotel. There were members of the team around to direct us where we could go. There was like a nice set-up system, many tables. Like, it was a very well put together system of getting through people, getting your passes and everything. I really like the touch that everyone who registered and came to collect got a little like goodie bag.
Yes.
Full of lots of fun little knickknacks. It want to show. And this baby, which is basically your Bible for the whole event. Again, another well put together thing. This is like a little like folded piece of paper. This is like a full on booklet, including all the details and pieces of information you want.
First try, Derpy. How about that?
And again, yes, we also have these. There was loads of little things. There was a little like magnet in there. There was a bingo card as an activity. And yeah, these very agreeably, even little bows and everything, the ScotiaCon logo on, packets of sweets and stuff. So
Cute.
just attention to detail, I think, is actually probably one of my big things to take away from this event.
Yes.
The theming from beginning to end was very well thought out. It
Very
was
good theming.
everywhere.
It had a like Western theme.
Yes.
There were props everywhere. There were banners everywhere. There were artworks, commissioned pieces, donated pieces, printed in immensely large size that were adorning the main area, the main stage, throughout the entire hotel. Honestly, I would say it was singularly the most well decorated event I have ever attended as a fandom. Genuinely, it is a hotel, and they still managed to put giant 1 floor high inflatable of their mascot.
I was going to say, well, that's one of the first things you saw when you entered the hotel, was this massive inflatable.
And it was themed. So it wasn't just the mascot. It was a mascot riding a horse with a cowboy type attire, which means they're only using it for this here. Putting that much money into props for 1 year is
crazy.
It speaks so much to how much effort and dedication and love goes into the event itself, because they're not thinking, oh, this is like a money thing and a business thing, and unless it has reusability, we're not really going to spend money on it. No, everything was planned to put people in the right mindset, to put people in the right vibe. Things were named after different things related to the theme and to the event. It was very, like Jay said, it was a very, very well thought out and well organized.
Yeah, so I believe the official name for the theme was the Howl at High Noon. And what I loved about the theme as well, it was, I think we lucked out with this being the theme for our first event, because it's definitely a theme that if people wanted to, they could get involved with themselves, because on top of the theming that the event had put on, actually a lot of the personas we saw walking around were able to dress themselves up as cowboys and do different spins and be like, you know, are they going to be like the scary person who like goes through the slinging doors of the pew-pews and stuff, but
like a bandit?
A bandit, yes. Or are they going to be the sheriff? Just all these fun things, and it just made it a theme that you very much felt involved in, like you really did step into that world. So yeah, really 10 out of 10 for the theme choice this year as well.
100%. You could also see from the attendees the massive divide of people who were new, so they weren't ready for just how intense, in a good way, how immersive the right word is, to the team everything was. There were those who were recurring guests, but they're more of the spectators. They mostly sit to the side and socialize and participate here and there, but they take more of a step back. They weren't dressed in theme, but then anyone who participated, organized things, wanted to be in photo shoots, so on and so forth, many of them were wearing bandanas and cowboy scarf things and boots and vests and all that, and it really helped you immerse yourself in the moment. It was genuinely a lot of fun.
It was genuinely a lot of fun. And again, another thing I liked a lot about the event was not on top of the theming, on top of the like big events that they were putting on, was just the amount of activities. Like they are genuinely, I think, wanting you to have fun and do as much as you can and as many variety of things as you want to, because not everything appeals to everyone. So you could do a bit of that. Even we mentioned in the goodie bag things that you had like a little bingo cards, or out of the gate there was an activity you could do if you wanted to. I and yourself as well towards the end really got into a thing they do called Bark Box, which is basically every ID you get, which is required to enter the venue and be part of the event, is actually an NFC tag specific to your profile. And dotted around the both venues that they were using, they had these dedicated little NFC boxes, and we were just going around like tapping or booping, as I was calling it the whole time. It's like, I want to boop the box, but and it was so cute because you tag it, it do a bark box
or a sound,
and then it would play certain sounds if you unlock certain achievements, because there was actually a whole achievement system, a whole leaderboard. And you would get achievements for tapping in certain orders with certain people in certain ways. It was a whole game in itself.
Yes, there was a total of 100 different achievements or tasks related to this bar box alone. And this was just one small thing that you could do throughout the weekend. There were other activities, some major ones, like the Be Down, that I don't know what it's called. It was like an improv dance-off thing that was held on the Friday. There was a saloon, like a gambling situation.
Like a casino type thing,
which didn't involve any real money. It was, again, just a leaderboard within itself. There were rave parties, there were karaokes, there were talks by the special guest who was a known author within the furry community, which it was really lovely to get to hear him speak.
Yes, it really was.
There were activities going on all day long. There were at least 2 concurrent activities going on throughout most of the weekend, with added activities that were presented by subgroups that were a part of the event itself. Let's say if we wanted to organize something while we were there, we would have spoken to the people in charge and they would have sent out a message, or we would have organized something in one of the little room or side rooms to be able to host our own little meet, or there were, like any other convention, there were loads of meets outside to different fursona types, different species, different groups of different interests. Genuinely, there was a lot going on. So much so that there were a lot of people.
So many
A lot of people.
Yeah. They have commented themselves on the speed at which they've grown.
Yes. So in 2 years ago, they had approximately, and again, this is vague numbers, right? They had approximately 700-ish, 800 people attend. Last year, they had around 1,200, 1,300-ish people attend. That went up by 40%.
Crazy.
This year, they reached nearly 2K.
Yeah.
So in under 2 years, it went up by a total of more or less more than double.
Yeah.
And I personally feel like it is unrealistic to expect any organizer entity to be able to keep up with that kind of demand.
Yeah.
Not because they aren't capable, but if this year we just experienced X amount of people, then for next year we are going to be catering for that amount of people and a little bit more.
Yeah.
When you then realize that the demand is for exponentially more, there's only so much you can do.
Yes.
There are things that they have put into place before the event was fully contained, we shall say, within the Crown Plaza. This time they booked 2 hotels for the event because the Hilton Garden Inn was also connected to it. There was a viewing room for when things get too busy at the Crown Plaza, and things were being aired live into the viewing rooms there that you could attend to. They were booked out, most of the rooms, with people attending the event.
Yeah.
So they have already taken steps to try and cater for the volume of people there. That said, it was still rammed. If you have ever gone to a major convention at the EXL or the NEC and you said, oh my God, it was oversold, you wouldn't have lasted 10 seconds in this. It was packed. There were narrow hallways, hotel hallways. You've been in a hotel before. You know it's not massive aisles, you know, and there was one section waiting to get into dealers den. There was another section of people doing trades, and you had to walk by and hobble between people with massive suits. So again, this was really high volume. Even entering any of the listed events, you had to be there an hour to 45 minutes prior to it starting, waiting in a queue. If you were there about 30 minutes before, you would have seen a sign to say the queue to get in has already been cut off. You missed it. You'll have to try and find something else.
And there are even situations which we were part of where even if it's a case of you're in the queue but you're towards the back, you're still not guaranteed to get in when it finally does open doors to go in, because it's a case of, you know, you go in, you go head count and go, actually no, this is too many people. So that did happen to us, unfortunately. So it was a case of, like, especially the Saturday was the most intense I've ever felt at a convention.
A lot of people just even though you had to book the entire event, they just came down for the Saturday. And it was very obvious. Everything was absolutely packed, from the bar area to the hallways to the staging. Everything was completely blocked. We didn't get a chance to do the dealers den because the queue for it was never ending. But again, I don't particularly feel like this is a problem from the organizer's side. They are doing their best in trying to improve every year. It is very clear. We had many conversations with people there to tell us just how much it has grown, not by standards of people alone, but just how much they have come organizing, you know. At the end of the day, it is a social event, so doing these activities isn't the bread and butter of it, we shall say. Most of the people were, like we said, standing outside, doing their own meets, taking photos, being harassed by a random passerby who was waving their camera in everyone's face while looking like he had just lost his entire family. You know, things like that.
It was
weird. It was weird.
It was, that particular thing was very weird. But yeah, people were doing stuff outside and doing their own thing. I think, to touch on the dealers den thing, because I think if anyone who attended or is watching this, you know, I think dealers den was a big conversation point for many guests. And again, as we've said, it's the scale that is grown at. They introduced a system this time to sort of cope with that scale, so you weren't queuing for hours on end. And I can totally relate to this. When you launch any sort of new sort of online system, you're only really going to know what works and what doesn't until you do it, because there's no way you can trial the system on that scale beforehand. You just can't. So I have every confidence that they will take the lessons they learned from this. But I don't know how you could possibly get that 100% perfect the first go. It just isn't possible. And it's a new system and not everyone knows how to use it and stuff. And I think a lot of people who may have, myself included, on the first day I couldn't work out the system. By the next day I worked it out. Like, I was like, oh, this is how it works. I get it now. So it's just these sort of teething issues and stuff. And again, the rate they're growing at, it's you trying to keep up with this growing demand. So I feel like, yes, there are issues of some getting into some things, but I can already sense that they've made their notes. They are listening to feedback, and I'm curious what they do with that going into the next one.
Yes. As we mentioned in the previous episode, our plan was to go and interview some of the people in the dealers den and some staff members. Genuinely, having seen just how busy and how absolutely rammed everything was the whole time, it was unrealistic for us to even think that we would get away with doing it. People were there from early hours to queue up for dealers den. They were there until the very end when it closed at 4 or 5 in the afternoon. everyone involved in Dealers Den was then absolutely knackered.
Yes.
We knew people who were there for it, and they just went to bed because it was an intense time. So we didn't get to do any of that. We didn't get to actually see Dealers Den, which is unfortunate. However, I did get some feedback relayed to me about Dealers Den, which isn't a critique. It is just a matter of fact. This is the first year, as far as I know, that they did not allow fan art in Dealers Den. I can only presume that the main reason behind this is because if people like myself who are fan artists apply to be a part of the Dealers Den there, then we are probably taking a lot of space away from people who work in the fursuit industry, let's say, right? That means less space for them, and this is an event about them, which is very valid and very fair.
Very valid.
The people who managed to get into Dealers Den, however, had a lot of feedback to say with regards of because everyone there was related to fursuiting, and even though everyone who was there absolutely loves the furry community, they don't necessarily have £3,000 to buy a fursuit head, or need a new pair of paws, or need any of the frills they were there. They wanted some artsy knickknacks to be able to take back with them. And they felt that this year, perhaps, because it was more focused on the fursuiting aspect and the original art aspect, they didn't particularly connect with something to take away with them. That is obviously a per individual basis. However, it was interesting to get this feedback because I had no concept of what was going on and what was in there, with the exception of what I saw on Instagram, because obviously artists, we post our tables and it was very nice to see. But I still am very pleased to see that the people who we follow that were attending there posted photos of their day 2 tables or their end of the day tables, and a lot of it seemed to have cleared out. There was a lot of empty space on those tables, which fills my heart with all the joy because you made your bread. Get your bread.
So some issues in terms of crowding and stuff. Though I would say I noticed that the reason Saturday was so busy is because they did have a day pass for Saturday that people could purchase.
Okay.
So for instance, we were a group of friends who had a Saturday day pass. So they were only there for that day. The bulk of people were there all weekend. You could sort of suss based on lanyard colours and stuff. But a lesson I learned in terms of that is just knowing when now I have. I mean, I guess it was kind of obvious Saturday we're busy, but to now understand how busy it was going to be, it just means in the future I can be like, okay, I'm going to plan around that knowledge now, to make the best of the experience, because we just spent a lot of Saturday just trying to queue for everything and then not getting into stuff.
Basically. Which I will just say that if we were to go back next year, I think I would take my Saturday morning off, Con, and just let people do their thing and vibe. If I magically end up with a fursuit by then, it would be the time I would allocate to stay outside and take photos, or plan photo shoots with other people, or plan specific meets that aren't in the immediate part of the event or what is going on within it. But then I would be back for karaoke in the evening, or things that, people by the end of the day were tiring out. So the evening events were a little bit less attended than I expected, which surprised me. We are veterans of RakuCon, and the most attended thing at RakuCon is the after party. However, with this, everything was being attended throughout the day. So by evening time, people were kind of like dwindling earlier than you would expect.
Those pups were tired out.
Yes, everything was open till about 4. But by 1 o'clock, it was quieter. I'm not going to say it was dead, by no stretch of the imagination, but it was much quieter. You didn't have to wait in line to fetch yourself a drink. You didn't have to wait too long or wait at all to enter any of the halls. It was just very chilled out.
It was very chilled out. It definitely makes me think of a different plan of attack for the busy Saturday, which would,
Yes.
like I think could be the same as what you just said. But yeah, Saturday definitely. I feel like my personal tip, or what I would do, the best experience for me is use Saturday as more of the catching up with people social day, like in terms of like if I want to have lunch with people that we know are going there, which is what we did actually on that day, I think. Things like that. Not be too invested in trying to get into the bigger things. And we talked briefly about the second venue having a viewing room.
Yes.
We didn't really take advantage of that or even explore it until
The last day
we were there. Now I know that's there. Actually, that is a really good space if I do want to see things. I think it's a less stressful way of doing it because it's a slightly smaller space. It's a viewing room rather than being in the venue. So it's also good for people who get overwhelmed by busy spaces and lots of sound and noise happening right in front of you. Genuinely, yeah, it's a case of, so we enjoyed the stuff we saw on Sunday a lot. So knowing that now, if there's something I really want to see on Saturday, I would probably take that route, seeing if it's available to watch in their viewing rooms rather than try and do the queuing we did for the main space. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Another thing I want to touch on is we discussed earlier the community aspect of the event and my personal joy of doing the bark boxes. And it's actually through doing the bark boxes that I quickly learned how much people love giving away free things and exchanging gifts with other people. Because I remember just doing the first few bark boxes and go, oh, this is where people have put some stickers. That's cute. I have some stuff. I'll put my stuff down too. By the end of the weekend, it was just hordes of things. There were people were leaving like stickers, badge buttons, a variety of every form of business card you could ever see. There were people doing 3D printed key rings. There was enamel pins, which was crazy.
Yes.
And I loved it because you would go around and just see all these different things people have left out, and it's purely just because they want to like give things away and share a bit of what they do and stuff. And I'll be very transparent. There was something really nice about putting my stuff out. J Bear's first like outing of like, hey, this is J Bear, and then going by later and seeing it all gone. Just really, like, I don't know, just really nice feeling of like people actually wanted to like take a trinket of I'll find out about this little bear. I'll take his badge button. Just something that was really nice. And actually through doing that, we've gained followers, and I followed people that I collected stuff from. So actually, weirdly, just by leaving stickers and things out, I've started to network with people beyond the event, which is really cool. And I think it's something that I've only really seen in this kind of event. I don't think I can say I've seen that in any other con to the extent that this has been done. Yeah,
I've seen it happen in places like SonicCon and RakuCon.
Yes.
There's always a table where people put random stuff out and you can go and pick and choose and take a few business cards while you're at it. Yeah. But this was everywhere. Every 5 steps there was a table with stuff on it. And it was pretty fantastic. There was even one point where I saw someone put down 2 like animal masks, a lion one with fur, and when they were putting them down, people asked like, are you giving this away? And they were like, yeah, I just don't use it anymore. And it literally was like under 5 seconds they were taken. But it is genuinely fantastic. It was very I don't know, such a community centric event. It definitely makes you feel involved.
It makes you feel involved. You generally get a sense that especially the people who are doing fursuiting, really love being there and love interacting, and there is generally that community vibe. We took some photos with a variety of different furries who I've not met before and stuff.
Yes.
And just casually asked, like, I love this whole thing you put together. It looks so good. Can I have a photo? And everyone was like, yeah, of course. That would be really nice. And
while we're at it, shout out to our new friends, Grits.
Yes.
Lovely person.
So lovely.
And also the dancing champion Marsh, who I absolutely was rooting for as soon as they got down and started dancing. They were so nice, and we took photos with them. We got to talk to them, and we did with many others as well. I have a few photos to share with Jade from Splat Cosplay and Zoom as well, who was the winner of the gambling leaderboard, which is a funny story within itself. Yeah, if I'm missing anyone, I'm really sorry. Also, honorable mention, special mention to our dearest Husky, who we took tons of pictures with. We took tons of photos of, and I also stole his skin and wore it, which we will not talk about that because Husky was not very pleased with me. But I was in the moment, I got caught up, I was swept in the moment, and I wanted to see what it was like for a whole 10 seconds, and it was fun.
Other things that I was really impressed with was the different, we talked about the numerous things they've done with games and stuff, but there were other things that just again reinforce this idea of community. One of the first ones we came along was this massive TV, which just had a web camera pointing at it, and just a massive button. And I'll tell you why I love the massive button. One, it's just fun to press a massive button. But two, that's actually a really fursuit-friendly way of interacting with something, because it's just like, just slam the button, because you can't like do any typing or anything. It's just smack the button, pose, and then what was really fun about it was there was a little computer thing in the corner that would guess what you were based on the photo. Some more accurate than others. My favourite was one I saw a photo of who just laid down completely on the floor, and it said they were a welcome mat. Wow. And then all of them got posted automatically to Blue Sky on this dedicated account with a little generated caption for every photograph, and there were thousands of photographs. Top tip, if you do that at a convention, find it in the moment, or you end up like me the next day scrolling through thousands of photos to go back to the one that you were in. Mistake I made there. So there was things like that. They also had another camera opportunity on the last night, which was a 360 camera.
Yes, that was so much fun.
And we all took part in that. You'll be looking at the footage now if you're watching the video. And again, all included, no extra cost. It was all part of the event, put on by the event. Another one, and again it ties to fun things to do and the community aspect, was in another room. In another room, there was another television with a webcam, and it was doing a live stream link with another furry event overseas.
In the States.
Yeah, so like it was really cute that, depending on the time zone of when you were doing it.
Yes.
But because there were a lot of times where we'd all be fast asleep or they'd be fast asleep. But when we were all awake at the same time, but you'd see these people where they're like the furries from different ends of the globe were like,
and people were entering their own contact information and sharing it so people can communicate. It was so wholesome. Yeah, it's really, really sweet.
So I love these little touches, and I just, something really nice about, we talked at the beginning about the thought that's gone into it, and you can also tell in that sense that they have such a good established relationship with the hotel, and have obviously got a good routine with the hotel, because to be allowed to do, we talked about the theming and the things set up all over the place and in corridors and stuff, like you have to have a good relationship with the hotel to be able to do that.
Keeping in mind that the hotel is fully booked out. There are no external guests.
This isn't like we've rented this conference hall. We have the hotel.
Yes, this is the entirety of it, and it's all sold out, all full of people, with the surrounding hotels all sold out and full of furries. So yes,
and shout out to which other part of the hotel and the liaison with the organisers that made it happen, that every night, I'd say just after midnight, they would put out breakfast baps outside the dance hall, because it is perfect. Like, you have a night, you go out raving, and what do you want? You want to like have some bacon and stuff before you go to bed. Like, it was all like just these little touches. I'm like, these are so good. Like, I would never have thought of that myself. So it's just all these little things just made it really, really fun, really, really good.
Well, needless to say, from the enthusiasm we're sharing this with, you can tell that we had a lot of fun. It was good. Perhaps if we were being picky and we wanted to go into all the events, we would have been grumpy about that. I know that there were people who attended that were, but let's face it, people are going to be grumpy with something or another regardless, because not everything is going to go as smoothly. No event is perfect. Nothing is perfect. So it is what it is. But We had a great time. We learned a lot about it.
Yeah.
And that is the event. Now, onto our own experience, our personal individual experience outside of we had fun,
Yeah.
right? And I think I want to go first with this one.
Yes.
Keeping in mind that everything I said is my genuine opinion about how the event went. On Friday, actually on Thursday when we arrived, I was very surprised with how smooth picking up the passes was.
Yeah.
It hadn't even started as an event yet. It was on the Friday, but on the Thursday when we arrived, it was packed with people. Everyone was already fursuiting. Everyone was already in their cowboy get-ups. Everyone was already doing the bark boxes. Everyone was already socializing and staying up late and having drinks and getting to catch up after not having seen each other from the previous event that they all attended. The atmosphere was buzzing, and genuinely, I right away regretted not having a hotel nearby so we could come back to that, because the vibe just felt perfect and just felt right.
Yeah.
On the Friday, it was more or less more of the same. We managed to do a couple of things. We got there. We went through this weird moment of myself, Husky, and J Bear. We were all there, and we are so used to going around an event within like 30 minutes, first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And if we wanted to buy something, we just run there while we're going to a bathroom break, because we're always behind a table. We never get to do these events. This time we had 12, 15, 16 hours every day to do stuff, and we didn't know what to do. We mostly looked at each other on Friday and was like, so what do people do now?
Yeah.
You know, we're new. We didn't really know many people because our friends hadn't turned up yet, or they were still in bed on the day. And we just didn't know how to fill our time.
Yeah.
Instead, we just went about. We tried to go here, go there, go everywhere. We managed to do the breakdown, beatdown?
Yes.
Is that what the name is?
It was definitely the beatdown or something beatdown.
Something now.
Yeah,
Beatdown,
yeah.
beatdown.
The dance.
Which was a nice dance-off.
Yeah.
I filmed a ton of it, which you're probably seeing bits and pieces here and there. It was so fun. It was so vibey. After that, I wanted to go back to the room to freshen up because we've been there since morning.
Yeah.
And then we went back. There was the saloon moment with all the gambling.
Yeah.
Husky got second place on the leaderboard. We're very proud of him. Our friend Zoom, that was there, had never gambled before, decided not to gamble at all. And then the last 5 minutes, we were literally leaving. And the guy was like, do you want to place a bet? Do you want to try once? And he's like, cool, I guess.
Why not?
And he won 4,800 chips and got in first place with one bet. It was crazy.
Yeah,
it
it's
happened.
crazy.
We had a great time.
Yeah.
After we attended a rave, everything was just so pumped and so like full of energy and so great. And then the thing happened that no one really wants to happen. And on Saturday, my anxiety and being surrounded by people and being kind of like really out of my element for some reason, it just hit me all at once. And Saturday, I completely spiraled. I got in my head. I didn't know what really to do with myself. We couldn't get into any of the activities. And instead of being like, well, it didn't bother you yesterday, why would it bother you today? My brain just did the anxiety loop that we talked about in so many of these episodes now, and I just crashed. By maybe 3 in the afternoon, I was really looking forward to go back to the hotel, ended up at the hotel by 5, and just slept for the rest of the... I completely lost all of Saturday, which is very unfortunate. And it is not a shame on anyone. No one did anything bad. No one did anything wrong. It was just a mental health thing on my part. I just, for some reason, decided that that day I was going to feel like a major outsider. Everyone else was having fun around me. I couldn't get into the groove. And the more I combated it, the worse it got. Which was a horrible feeling. It genuinely was the most horrible feeling. That said, woke up Sunday feeling great, had a lovely coffee, went and watched the dance competition, I was in the best of spirits, and we ended on the highest note when we were driving back in the Uber to the hotel on Sunday, knowing that we were leaving Monday first thing in the morning. I was genuinely sad. It felt like I finally got into the groove of what it was like. I finally figured out the bark box is like the fucking last 2 hours of the event. And I'm like, oh, now I want to try. And not bad. Out of like those 2K people, we ended up in like the top 100 of the leaderboard, which is really fun.
Yeah.
It was really cool. But yes, it was such a major roller coaster, and I don't attribute any of what happened to anything but a blip in mental health, and I feel like that can happen to literally anyone. It is of no weight on the event itself, not on the organizing entity. If anything, it was my bad for not realizing that there was the quiet room at the Hilton to watch things while being in your own space. Because if I did an hour of that or 2 hours of that, I would have been right as rain.
Yeah. Again, it's all the lessons learned and things we learned throughout the trip that were like, okay, that's a useful tool to know for next time and stuff. I think for me, even though I talk so much about community and how much emphasis there is in this kind of event about people doing things together and the groups, we talk about the different meets that happen and stuff like that. For me, while that's great, when you come into that not being part of any of those communities, you do feel like an outsider, and that's not a bad thing, and no one's to blame for that. It's just a natural thing, like it's so community focused, but I'm not part of this community yet, and I don't know how to get it. That my first step into
it's scary.
People. It is scary, and like
scary. Especially for a bunch of introverts.
It's
super scary.
You know, we are introverts in many ways, and it is difficult. And I think I feel, again, I don't know this to be true because it's not, but I feel like if I did come to an event like this with a full fursuit, it would almost be like that would be the stepping stone in. I feel like it would be an easier way to get in, but not being that and just like exploring the furry community and what I want to be in it is harder because you don't know. You don't know, basically, is probably the simplest way to put it. So by the end of the trip, we had started to make connections with people.
Yeah.
It took a moment, and maybe in retrospect, there was probably unnecessary pressure put on myself to find that faster. Like I wanted to find my people on day one. And that's
the mistake I made.
Yeah, and it's like, I should know through life that that's not how things work. You will gradually find your people just by being an event, and things will fall into place. But because it didn't happen straight away, I suddenly felt like, oh, do I belong here? Is this for me actually? I thought it was. I felt like it was. Like you said, by the end of the event, we'd made quite strong connections with people that I was like, oh, these are lovely people, and these feel like people I relate to, and this is what I was expecting the event to be from day one. It just took a moment to get into it, and I shouldn't have been so hard on myself to be so impatient, I guess, that like, why don't I have these strong friendships on the first day, and I found my community of people. So, you know, everything's, you know, 2020 in hindsight, but so I'm glad we got there in the end, and it's kind of nice. I think we put, and you would probably tell from the last episode, the expectations were high, not just from the event itself, but what it would mean for us coming out of it, which I think put an added level of pressure on ourselves. But actually what this event truly became, now having been on the other side of it, is this was our welcome to this community. It was our finding our feet. Now I feel like I found my feet to a degree. It means that now I can go into the next one I do a lot more self-assured and a lot more understanding of where I fit in and what I'm comfortable with and stuff. So
if I can interject,
yes,
on the point that you're making, we went into this event with the idea that I am Jules Bon. I have been an illustrator for 20 years. I have been in the convention community for nearly a decade now. And I was just doing another event, just a different type of event. And I went fully embracing everything that I know from cons, everything that I do with my art stuff. I just went with that energy. Whether that is good or bad is up to interpretation. But we arrived there and realized, oh, you're brand new. You still need to get to the point where you can be that person in this space.
Yeah.
Only because you go with that energy doesn't mean that people are going to connect with it.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I had the absolute pleasure of meeting people there who did know who I was, who did know of my work, and were like, oh my God, I never thought you were a furry. Unlike the people on Instagram. Rude. I see you, Pin and Tonic. I see you, Chocolate Raisin Factory. Chocolate Raisin Fury? Fury. I see you, Chocolate Raisin Fury. Eyes. But yes, you know, there were people there who recognized my work, who we ended up having conversations with. We sat and had coffee.
Yeah.
It was lovely. It was genuinely nice. But my spiraling was because I realized, oh, I am brand new and I am old. Whether I like to admit it or not, I am a little bit older compared to most con-goers. And this community is, I want to say, mostly in their early 20s or mid-30s. I am blessed now to be turning 40 this year. You know, by comparison, I felt like I was trying to experience something new in a space where, let's face it, I love this community, but I've seen way too many memes on Blue Sky to let me know that if you're past 30, you're considered ancient and maybe sus. And I'm not there to be sus. I was there to enjoy my best life. And for some reason, all these thoughts were getting in my head of, oh, how am I being perceived? Oh, why aren't I engaging as quickly as I normally do? Why isn't my like con spirit coming out today? And it just spiraled into this blah, which I don't wish on anyone, but if anyone has ever related to that at a convention, just know it's normal. It's okay. It happens to literally even people who have been doing conventions for way too long.
Yeah, it's so true, and I think it's an experience many people will relate to. And again, you know,
I hope.
It's
if you don't, then
everyone's had their experience of first time at a con or a new community and stuff. And I guess I just realized, oh yeah, that's what we're going through. What? It was very like that. I think almost the way it took me by surprise as well. It was sort of like it wasn't expecting it, so that added a whole minor shock factor to it as well. Being like, I should know what I'm doing. It's like, oh, but you don't, and that's absolutely okay. That's absolutely fine.
Now, we don't want to be party poopers. This is a celebratory episode of something that was really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So before I move on to the next thing, I do want to say a very special thank you to our dear friend Cindacry, who surprised myself and J-Bear and Husky with the most adorable Conversona badge. She designed it, she made it, she laminated it, she cut it, she brought it with her, and we absolutely love it. I don't know how I'm going to grab it and show it to you, but that is that, and we are going to be posting the actual images on the screen so you can see ours, and you can especially see the one that Cindacry made for Husky, which is the most adorable.
Yes.
You know, a little bit less sassy than mine showing his ass. Instead, it was like, roar, and it's really cute. So shout out to our friend Cindacry. You are an absolute legend. It was the sweetest gift. I absolutely love it. Yeah. Now, with all this in mind, next year, 2027, the theme has been announced.
Yes.
It is Kaiju themed, which, as it turns out, my entire life revolves around Kaiju drawings now. So, will we be going back? Nah.
We did it.
Never
we
again.
know.
We already have our hotel booked because we wanted to make sure that this time around I am a hop, skip, and a jump away from the event. So if I need some personal chill time, if I need to shower, if I need to de-drag from my con outfit, then I can just go back, wind down for a little bit, get back into the action, stay within the vicinity. We did find some eateries that were nearby, so we don't really need to go into town once the event starts, as we thought we would have to. And we're very excited.
The idea of next year, like once we're in the event, we could just lock into being in that space until we had to leave. And like you said, the idea of like, we need to take a break, just a quick walk away, there's not that huge disconnect. Because that's another thing we faced, is by the time we often got to our hotel, when we were a bit tired out, the idea of that whole journey back could almost put you off doing it again for the night. You could be like, actually, I'm just going to call it a night. Whereas when you're like within short walking distance, you're like, you know what, I'll go back out and stay for half hour, see if I'm feeling vibing, and if not, there's no harm done. Whereas the pressure was always a bit higher when you're further away. So I'm very, very excited for next year.
We're buzzing. And we hope that other people will join us there. I hope that we will be joined by people who we met this year. I hope that our dearest friend Husky will be coming with us, who I just want to say thank you so much for putting up with all the madness that was going in my head over the weekend. You were an absolute star and went out of your way to keep me grounded and made me feel at peace and okay, and went back to the hotel with me to make sure that I got some alone time with, in quiet and peace and so on. So thank you genuinely so much. We are very, very excited for next year. Yes. And that is that with that review.
That is the ScotiaCon 2026 review done. Done. And again, very much looking forward to next year. But one final note, again, we've already said it, but it's worth saying again, thank you to every single person we saw at the event, whether it be people who we have worked with or people who we already know, whether it be customers and people who have supported us in the past and recognized your work.
I look forward to seeing you all at PowerCon in Glasgow in about 3 weeks.
Exactly.
Because you all let me know that you weren't vending this weekend, so we'll need to come to PowerCon to grab the new pin-up t-shirts or the new pin-up stickers. So thank you. You have made my weekend without knowing. Also, special thank you to the staff of ScotiaCon and the hotel, of course, but particularly so those who facilitated our being there. Yes. There were a few things that we needed sorting out on the side, even when trying to organize the interviews. They might not have happened, but you still went out of your way to communicate about them, to help us understand policy of what can be filmed, what can't be filmed during the event, to keep everyone safe and everyone happy. Thank you for taking the time to deal with us while you had all that going on as well. We truly appreciate it.
Of course, yes. And lastly, thank you to all the new friends we've made. We can't wait to see you again in the future. Sending all the love, squish, to everyone we met.
Brilliant. Before we close, we do have some announcements. The big announcement is that in a couple of weeks' time, at the end of this month, we are going to be making a live recording session, just like we did last year at AnimeCon Manchester. It will be at Manchester Central. It will be the last weekend of February, and we are going to have one, very possibly two live recordings on the main stage. Keep your eyes peeled for details about that, about the topics, about the times. I'm pretty sure it's 2 o'clock on Saturday and noon on the Sunday. But again, please check our socials for more information. We would love for people to come and support the live in person, just like you did last year at AnimeCon, just like you did last year at RakuCon, which was a massive, massive success.
Yes.
And the last announcement is, Jay, will you be my Valentine?
You know what? Yes.
Okay.
I would like that very much.
Cute. Well, that's that. We need to turn off the cameras now because what ensues is not for your eyes. Thank you for your viewership, and check out the Patreon, do the thing, like, subscribe, smash all the buttons, leave in the comments how inappropriate the end of this episode is, and yeah, we'll see you soon. Bye!